Hey guys, Johnny from Badger Security Survival. Last week I was put on the hot seat by Kelsey, and this week we're going to fire some questions on Clay, some hard questions, see what he has to say about that. Let's do this. Hey man, I was reading the news the other day and they're talking about this Yellowstone volcano, like underground volcano. It's going to blow up. Like, what do I do if that blows up? Like, if that blows up now, I got like 2 bottles of water in my fridge. Like, what do I do?
Well, I mean, it really depends on your preparations, what you already have in place. There are several tenets that you need: water, shelter, food, other preparations. Those 3 basic tenets are what you have to cover first of all. You said you had 2 bottles of water.
Yeah, I drink them like in the morning when I grab a bottle of water on the way to work. So.
You need a lot more than that, or at least a way to purify or gain more water as you move away from the epicenter of that disaster. Okay, water is most definitely the most important thing. Shelter is going to be the next most important. Do you find trees? Do you dig a pit? Do you have a tent? You go camping with your family?
Not so much. No.
Okay, well, that tent you may or may not have in your garage is going to be your shelter.
I built tree forts when I was a kid.
Hey, any lean-to, anything that'll make you survive in any kind of a weather, rain, snow, anything like that is going to protect you.
So I need to build a shelter first?
No, you need to get your water together first.
Why do I need water first?
Water, you can only survive 2-3 days, I think, and be effective. You might be able to last longer, but withering underneath a tree is not exactly effective. If you're dehydrated, you're not moving quickly, you're not thinking quickly, you're not reacting quickly. Water is the most important thing. You can go, I can probably go a little bit more than most people without food. But shelter, hypothermia, any of those weathering diseases.
Why don't I need to build a shelter? I have a jacket.
You ever stood inside in the rain? Your coat is as good as your head covering is, and your legs are soaked, your feet are soaked, your boots are soaked. You ever heard of jungle rot?
Jungle rot?
Yeah.
Like trench foot?
Trench foot. Jungle rot. Same thing. It's going to be moisture in your boots.
What does that do? Like, I don't understand. Like,
when you get out of a pool, you have
I just take my boots off. I can just take them off and dry them out.
How are you going to do that when you're moving away from an epicenter of a disaster? You're going to take your boots off? You're going to walk down concrete streets with potential vehicle disasters, broken limbs, any kind of... When was the last time you walked down the street with bare feet?
When I was a kid.
Right. Your feet are your feet are very sensitive. But if they're wet, they're useless to you.
They're pretty durable.
Useless.
They look good in the mall.
I'm sure they do. But that's not the point. The point that I was getting at is water is the most important.
Okay.
Shelter is the next most important, and food. A jacket is not shelter.
But I figured it would keep me warm and dry. I could just...
Ish.
So how do I get...
Shelter is absolutely different than movement preparations.
So how much food and water should I save? Like how much water do I consume? I don't really know how much water I use in a day. How much should I...
How much you save for your family, or if you're one person, the amount of water or food that you would save, and even shelter. What kind of shelter? Are you going to build a 6-person shelter?
I got like family 6 hours away. Like even on foot, I think 6 hours away.
6 hours on foot, or 6 hours in a vehicle?
I mean, I don't know how many miles it is, but I'd say 6 to 8 hours if I walked it. It's only like next town over. I can just walk there.
You can walk there?
Yeah.
When was the last time you walked to the next town over? No? Okay. Well, if you're not prepared for that walk, thinking you're prepared for that walk is going to be your first mistake. Because you're going to run out of water. The amount of water that you need day to day, working in an office or working in any other location, is totally different than an operating level of water. So I'm exerting
myself, I need to consume more water.
Correct.
And if I've never walked 120 miles in one day...
I've never walked 120 miles, and I know that's going to be not a 6-hour walk. Even 20 miles is not going to be a 6-hour walk. And I'm going to consume much more water than the 16, 20-ounce 2 of them that you have in your house.
What you're saying is water's first, shelter
is next.
If I'm going and staying in place for me and my family, and then food finally as a last looking point.
And last is, that's just basic tenets.
To survive, right.
To survive, you need that food storage. But water is absolutely first.
Right.
If you are dehydrated and cannot feed the people that you have in your household, and you can't keep them hydrated, it doesn't matter how much food you have, how much shelter you have, you're going to die of thirst long before you need any of that.
Well, that makes sense, man. Hey guys, those are some tough questions we fired off at Clay. Put him on the spot a little bit. He did a real good job explaining some basic tenets of survival: your water, your food, your shelter. Not in that specific order. Just do what you can to prepare yourself. Start small, build on that a little bit. It's just basic things you can do to provide and protect your family from any sort of situations, big or small, that may occur.